Hi, this is Julia, and I wanted to talk to you today about something that's affecting me personally lately, and that's really low energy levels. Now, being 7 months pregnant, I'm tired most of the time these days, and I guess I know that's to be expected, but I'm also looking at no end in sight with a new baby on the way and then years of no sleep. So I've been really concerned about this low energy level. And frankly, it's just not me. I'm usually very peppy and high energy. So it's frustrating to say the least. And what's worse is that I can't seem to focus on anything for more than a minute at a time. I'm just so tired. I can't focus. But my concerns go way beyond just me. I have a lot of customers that talk to me on a daily basis about their low energy levels and what they can do about it. And my mom is actually a perfect example. She just turned 74 and started about 6 months ago to get anxiety attacks. And now when she gets one, it actually leaves her flat out for days. She has no energy. She's lifeless for days, even a week on end sometimes. So this really is a subject that hits home for me and is very personal to me. So what I wanted to do is bring in a good friend of mine who I would consider an energy expert to talk to me about my energy levels and how he can help me as well as you as our customer increase your energy levels on a day-to-day basis. So I want to welcome Tristan Truscott. Tristan?
Thank you, Julia. Hi, everybody. Man, this is cool. I love what you're doing for your subscribers and your customers, talking about this in particular, because so many people struggle with energy levels. I certainly have been there. And from time to time, my energy dips too. We're also so busy, but I'm grateful to be here. So thanks for having me on.
Absolutely. Thanks for being here. Well, on that note, Tristan, I would love to hear kind of how you got into energy work and how you help people and how you've helped yourself raise and keep those energy levels sustained throughout the day.
Absolutely. I think ever since I was a little kid, and I bet we all can relate to being little kids, we are exuberant. We have so much energy because it's our natural state. And, I remember just skateboarding and surfing. I grew up in Malibu, California. And fortunately, my mom put me in karate so I could channel all of that energy. And, I learned these arts of punching and kicking and doing all this cool stuff. No one really was talking about it like energy, like maybe you've heard the word life force. And in other cultures, they'll use words like chi, like Tai Chi, or there's a word for a type of moving meditation called Chi Gong. And in yoga, they talk about energy and they call it prana. But for the most part in our culture, I think we're just talking about our energy levels, like feeling some pep in our step. But it's so much more than that. I didn't know that as a kid. I just knew I had tons of energy and it needed to be channeled. And I also know and remember as a kid that if I bumped my head or if I hurt myself, I seemed to heal almost overnight. But as we get older, that healing journey takes longer and our energy levels dip, like you were saying for yourself, having the baby on the way or your mom, and stress and anxiety zaps energy out of us. Now, for me, it was a different story. I was a martial artist, but I started having problems with my body. I started having pain in my knees and pain in my joints, and my palms would sweat, and I would grind my teeth at night. And I would come home from school so tired because I was getting migraine headaches as a teenager from stress. And I'd just have to lay down and go to sleep. Or I'd wake up in the morning with pain in my mouth from grinding my teeth, or the stress that made my palms sweat. There was no way I could ask a girl out on a date. So too self-conscious, all this internal stress. And that's interesting, isn't it? So many of us have these conditions, and they're called psychosomatics today, meaning that your mind or your brain affects your body or your soma. And so that stress was depleting my life force. Again, I didn't know that that's what it was at the time. Today, we can explain it more through chemistry and the hormone release and the cortisol in the body and the nervous system being under pressure and getting dampened and affecting our immune system and our energy levels. So I went chasing for a solution through natural healing. And I think like so many of us, We want a natural approach to feel good. And so that led me to something that I bet many of us have tried or are doing, is meditation, to get rid of that stress and get my energy levels and my healing back up. And meditation has helped me so much. But I find a lot of people, they struggle with it because sitting down and trying to quiet your mind can be very difficult, especially at first. And today, maybe even more now than when I was learning meditation as a younger boy, there's so much information. There's so much technology. We have these smartphones that I don't know if they're making us smarter or not. They might be making us smarter. There's so much, right?
Right.
And it's overwhelming. So it's adding even more stress. And I don't even know if the brain has been able to adapt because it's happening so fast that the meditation back then was easier to learn because I had less stimuli. But even today now, and I'm not suggesting that meditation is the cure-all, although I think it's so helpful for energy levels, I did start to meditate. And I found my stress levels go down because I learned how to do it in the right way. And my energy was affected and was better. But then I had an injury to my body. One night in my martial arts school, I was teaching, I love self-defense. I love empowering people. I love empowering young girls that are going off to college, or, you know, when if you're a parent, you get your daughter or your son their first car and you're like, oh my gosh, you know, they're going out in the wild world on their own now and you want to know they're safe. So that was a passion. And so I would put these suits on, like full body armor. And I would let these girls beat the you-know-what out of me because I knew, right? They've gotta be able to read.
They must have loved it.
The mothers loved it. The mothers signed up. I want to pound on him too. For years, I did that. And I felt really good about it. And, you know, I was using meditation to address pain that I actually felt in my body because the suits were helpful, but they didn't stop all the collision of the punches and the kicks, and my whole body was being disrupted all the time. And there was ongoing pain, but it was for a higher cause. So I would use my meditation almost like, I'll give you an analogy. If you're driving in your car and all of a sudden a red light comes on that says, check the engine. And you're like, well, I don't have time for that right now. So you take a pair of wire cutters and you go under and you cut the wire. Oh, the red light's gone. I can keep going. And I think that's what we do with stress as well, is we're like, okay, let me take a pill. Let me distract myself with this or that, or I can't focus on that pain right now. And it comes later and causes a lot of problems. Mental problems. It can cause, as we know, depression, dementia. It can cause your body to break down. For me, my body broke down and I had a severe back injury. And that's what led me on a path to understanding more about energy. And I think the last part to that piece of the story is I tried to fix it with natural methods that I knew. And I tried to fix it with physical solutions because the pain was in my physical body. So I would get massage and I would get adjustments and I would get shots and I would see these doctors, and everyone looked through the lens of the physical. There's a physical problem. We're going to fix it. And it was not fixable. I would get temporary relief and it would come back. And I have met so many people in that position today. They're like, it doesn't make sense. The doctors can't figure it out. I know my mind is somehow affecting my body, but why can't I fix this? And fortunately in my journey, we get to a point in the story where I learned that you have more than just a physical body. And I think we should talk about that too.
For sure. I know that a lot of our customers have physical pain, and there are many doctors out there now that are saying that 95% of all physical pain comes from stress. So when you're talking about stress, I think you hit the nail on the head. It's so important. We talk a lot about stress and how it erodes the hippocampus, the memory sector of the brain, and how it ruins your focus, but it also does make you physically sick and gives you physical pain. So I'm glad you're talking about that. What would you say is you talked about meditation. What's the one thing you discovered or that you're doing that helps reduce that stress and helps reduce that pain or completely takes it away?
Such a great question. One that just was like an enigma for me for a 5-year journey of crippling pain, even a $90,000 back surgery when
Wow.
we, yeah, I mean, seeking out the best doctors, again, looking through the lens of physical, let's fix this back. It was in my lower lumbar area, L4, L5. They showed me x-rays and MRIs that just scared me so much that you have this misalignment, you have these disc problems, you have a missing piece here. Like, have you ever heard the statement, the diagnosis can be worse than the disease? That's what happened. And that's, again, a mental thing. Like, if someone tells you you're sick, you tend to get sicker.
Yeah.
And so even after the surgery, I was worse off. And
Wow.
yeah, it was the dark night kind of stuff that some folks have to go through. I think it was part of my journey, part of my calling in this life was to have some discovery. So eventually it led me to a different kind of meditation, one that I had seen people doing it in the park, and being a martial artist, I always thought that it seemed too gentle, too soft. I was used to punching and hitting and wearing suits, right? Fighting. And these people were doing Tai Chi, and they were just flowing and breathing. And there's like a grandfather of Tai Chi. It's called Chi Gong. I mentioned that word earlier. Chi Gong means energy work or working with your energy. And so after the surgery and not being able to walk, I had a moment that I call my deal with the divine, where I just said, if I can be healed, if I could find a way out of this pain, I'll help others to do the same. And that was that calling. And I think that's why it happened. And so there was a shift that happened that particular day that I made that deal. And maybe the shift, and maybe you can relate to this, is when we're trying to fix ourselves, the focus is on us, on us, on us, as it should be initially. But if we can shift it to even maybe, how can I, if I heal myself, can I help my family? Can I help my children? Can I help my community? Can I do something for others? At least that's what happened with me. And I was guided, if you will, or just happened to be in the right place at the right time. And I was at a Whole Foods. I got out of my Jeep with my handicap sign. And I hobbled over to the board where they have all the flyers, looking for, oh, what's the next thing I'm going to try? And there was a sign that said that there was a workshop called Chi Gong, and that I could learn about my energy body. And I just knew that was what I needed to do next. So that's what I did, Julia. I went and I studied with a teacher visiting from China about this energy body. And for the first time, I felt much better. I could feel something shifting in my body and in my back. And I asked this teacher if I could have private lessons with him while he was visiting here in the States, and he agreed. And so that's what I discovered, was this practice of Qigong, and even more importantly, why it works.
Wow, what a story. So, can you tell me a little bit more about what Qigong is exactly? What is the practice?
For sure. It's a moving meditation. So you're gently stretching and moving your body. There's a lot of very fluid movements that are coordinated with your breathing. And your mind is very focused and present on what you're doing. And think of the analogy of a hose, a garden hose. And when water's flowing through a hose, if there's no impingement on the hose, it flows perfectly and comes out the end from the spigot and through. But if there's a kink or a rock or someone steps on it, the water doesn't flow as well. What the Qigong teachers or Qigong masters, there's even Qigong doctors in China, what they found is there's a map through our whole body that the acupuncturists know about. And there are channels that this energy, or life force as we're using the term, flow through like hoses. But they get blocked, they get disrupted, and then the healthy energy doesn't flow correctly, and it causes a lot of problems, physical and mental and emotional and spiritual, because we're made of energy. Energy is everything, as we've all heard, I'm sure. And energy's in food, and energy's in supplements, and we get energy from sleep, and our thoughts help direct our energy. And so if we have stressful thoughts, we're blocking the flow of this healthy energy. If we're not sleeping right, the energy's not flowing right. If we have a back injury or an illness, the energy's not flowing right. But when we correct the energy, guess what happens? The body returns to normalcy. And it's a missing piece of the equation for most people that are only looking through the physical lens. I think you should do both.
Yeah. So tell me, what personal results have you seen, and about how long doing the Qigong practice did it take you to see those kind of results?
Well, I'm teaching again. So I went from not being able to walk. I went from being 30 pounds overweight, very, very upset, bordering depression, wanting to end myself, because when you lose your identity through illness, you're like, who am I now? And you feel like a burden. All of that's gone. And all my medical bills that put me in debt, that's gone too. The question is how? Because I got my life back. So as I was doing the Qigong, and it was a gradual process at first, because what happens is you're building your body's energy back up, kind of like a battery, or like filling your car back up with a full tank of gas. It's cumulative. So if you practice, and it doesn't take a long time to do Qigong, this is the coolest part about it. And it's so much easier than sitting meditation. And a lot of people will say it's easier than yoga, most types of yoga that we're exposed to in the West. So what happens is your energy builds back up. And as it does, it corrects the map in the body of how the channels flow. And all of a sudden, you start to find that you have more vitality. That enabled me to heal, because my body needed the energy to heal itself. I had one of those kind of breakthrough healings where I felt the energy go into where the surgery was and like start to break up this knot type feeling. The whole body was numb and the whole leg was numb all the way down to my foot. And that was why I couldn't walk properly, plus the shooting pain that was going down that leg. And it tingled and opened up. What I had learned was how to focus my mind and send the energy using mental. What I did, and you'll probably be able to relate to this because of your science background and your love of chemistry and how the brain works, is they're little neuropeptides. And when the brain releases them, whether it's through a supplement or through a particular thought or emotion, those little neuropeptide molecules go down in your body and they attach on receptor sites and they create a feeling state. Well, I visualized tiny little neuropeptides going from my brain down through my body using one of my Qigong breathing meditations. And it happened. It went all the way through my body. And there's a saying in energy work, which is where your attention goes, your energy flows. And so my attention was into healing, and it went all the way down to the bottom of my foot, and my foot started to tingle, and I could feel it again for the first time in like 5 years.
Wow.
And that's how it turned around. So the results that I mentioned happened because I was able to heal.
That's amazing. Yeah, I've actually seen where doctors have measured energy and it measured the thought process of the energy flow through the body. They can actually see it now on different scanners. So it's really cool that you're able to control those thoughts and the neuropeptides with your own thoughts and heal yourself. And I think we all know that. I mean, the placebo effect is a very real thing, and that's all about believing that you're getting healed, and so you actually do heal. So this sounds amazing. What you heard other really good stories from people that you've personally trained on their healings? Because it sounds like you've been healed 100%. So what other experiences have people had?
Well, I love taking those testimonials, if you will, or those success stories, and I bundle them all up and I put them on our website. And there are just so many of them. So like a big one, right? Let's start with a big one. There's all kinds. There's like, oh my gosh, I felt it in the first week, or oh my gosh, I felt that chi in my hands. That's a big one for folks because it seems a little woo-woo at first, like energy, shmenergy. What are you talking about? But when you feel it, it's like little batteries in your hands, like bioelectrical energy, and it's really cool. But when they can use the energy efficiently and effectively, a lot of the folks that come to it are for healing, or are for mental focus, like having more drive during the day, getting more done, right? So stuff like that. But one fellow came to our healing center on a cane, and he was going blind in one eye and losing his hearing and losing his balance on one side of his body. And something was going on in his brain where his system was attacking the myelin sheaths around the dendrites. And he had just been diagnosed with MS, multiple sclerosis. So this is a heavy diagnosis. And typically people, when they get that, they end up in a wheelchair. And he was heading that direction. That's why he needed the cane to walk. But his father had been the kind of man that gave him the drive to keep looking for solutions. And I really could relate to him and loved when he walked in my office and told me he wanted to be a black belt. And I had just recently been healed, and I had to check my own doubt system, like we all should check our doubt system and be like, wait a minute, what's possible here is probably bigger than my limiting belief. I was like, okay, you want to be a black belt. Okay, you seem that you're really dedicated to wanting to turn this around. I said, yes, but you have to do everything I say. And he said, yes, I'm all in. So what we did was we worked with his mind. We visualized, we did Chi Gong, moving meditation, and we started gently moving his body and re-educating the brain-body connection. Now, I don't know scientifically. I haven't done brain scans on him. I'm not a doctor, so I can't tell you what happened. But I'm just going to take a guess that either the sheaths repaired or he built new neural networks around the sheaths that were affected, because he did become a black belt.
Wow.
And never missed a class. And in 5 years, he took his black belt test. And I've got a picture of this guy kicking a bag. And the bag is bent in half. The power, this guy didn't need a cane anymore. I can tell you that. It wasn't like, oh, it was a complimentary black belt and, you know, no. This guy's like intense. So that was one of my great success stories I love to share. And there's so many more, but that's a good
story.
Cool.
That's so amazing. I love hearing stories like that because it does happen. It happens every day for people who believe and who actually do the work and do the practice. Yeah. So I guess that kind of takes me to, you know, will this work for everybody? I mean, is this something that at 7, 8, 9 months pregnant I can do? Is it a practice that my mom can do for her anxiety attacks? Is it something that, you know, I know we have a lot of older customers that are really struggling with energy on a daily basis. Is this something that they can really do when they're already struggling with just even, you know, getting out of bed a lot of times?
I think it's such an important question to ask. Will it work for everyone? And we know that we're all different, but at this point, I'm pretty sure everyone knows you have a physical body. Go look in the mirror. Not everybody knows they have an energy body. We all know we have brains in here. When you learn about your energy body, it's really an ace up your sleeve because it gives you advantage over, not over others per se, but over things that you may have been trying up until this point without having the energy piece of the solution. And so what I find is a lot of people that didn't know about it or hadn't been implementing it get very quick, rapid results. They feel their energy lift immediately. They notice that they heal faster. Some people's energy system is pretty dampened, and it takes a little while to get it back online, if you will. But with the right techniques and learning this art, because you have to know that it's very old, it's ancient, it's at least 5,000 years old, and it was often shrouded in secrecy because it was held within martial arts schools and temples, and the teachers didn't want other people learning it. I think for different reasons, maybe back in the days of more of the war type martial fighting, they didn't want to give their secret techniques away, so others would use them against them. And then it was more about they wanted to be careful who they taught them to because they were so powerful that you can do a lot of things in addition to healing and having super strength. People were able to use them and use them with their mind to accomplish great things. So they were very selective. And that caused it to take a long time for these arts to reach the West. And then when they reached the West, a lot of it was very esoteric, being that it was from the East. It was like, this seems pretty out there, or it was hard to extrapolate and understand how to apply it to a Western lifestyle. So fortunately, I have 30 years of martial arts and background in this type of thing. And then, of course, the meditation and then training with master level teachers. And I partnered up with someone who had 60 years of training in energy arts and martial arts. So together we combined our 90 years and we said, let's distill this down into a simple process that's Western friendly and palatable, and that it's easy to do and is time efficient because, again, we're all so busy. So will it work for everyone? The court is still out on that one, but I have found that almost everyone that has learned Qigong from us has said, if they've told us, I felt something right away. My stress levels have gone down. My panic attacks, there's definitely been people with panic attacks, have ended. I have more energy than I know what to do with. And we have to teach them. This is kind of a good problem, but still it has to be addressed right. I couldn't sleep because I had so much energy. So then we made sure that people had a sleeping technique that goes with it. So they pick their energy up in the morning so they can have an incredibly productive, focused day. And then at night when they come home, they calm the energy, they cleanse themselves, because we're around a lot of negativity and stuff. So you cleanse, and then you go to sleep soundly and wake up feeling charged. So I know that was a long-winded answer to does it work for everyone? I'm going to have to say no, it doesn't work for everyone, but it works for a lot of people.
That's great. Well, for me, I'm just tired of wanting to lay down and take a nap constantly. So I, I really could use something like this. I would love to have you help me learn how to do Chi Gong, learn how to do the meditation practice with the movement, because I've never done anything like that before. So is there somewhere I can go to learn more from you, or how can I get in touch with you to find out more about this?
I, of course, am going to help you and the young one on the way. And Qigong is great for mommies that are expecting. Think about it. You're feeding the baby right now all of this life through you. You're giving him or her, do we know?
It's a him.
You're giving him life force. So Qigong will be perfect for that. And there's a way to do it that doesn't compromise the journey. You're breathing and gentle movements. He's going to be very grateful. And yes, there's a way to learn this. I put together some, if you'd like to meet my friend and partner, Peter Ragnar, we'll give you a link that you could share, I guess, somewhere on this page or below this video. And I'll be doing a back and forth interview with Peter. And there's some training where we go into our healing center and we teach you some of the basics to get started with this and how to start opening those channels up. And it's very easy. So we'll give you a way to get that. It's completely free. And then there's always a way to continue the journey. So we'll talk to you about a 4-week process that you could do with us. And that's the cool thing. It doesn't take long to learn Qigong. And we found a way to give you private lessons using this beautiful technology through the internet. So there's a way that we can continue to train together there.
That's great. So what I can do, as well as all of our customers, because I know a lot of people are going to be really interested in this, is to go ahead and click the button below, and you can get Tristan's free gift and his teachings. You can learn more about Qigong from him and his friend Peter, and take these meditative movements in Qigong to help you get your focus back, help you sleep better, it sounds like, and definitely give you more energy, which is what I'm looking forward to. And I like the slow movements because my body is not really in that creative shape right now to do some large movements. So I think this will be really good for me, and I know it would be really good for a lot of our customers.
Everyone can do this, Julia, because it's that easy. And I didn't note that I said Peter had 60 years of training. This gentleman is in his 70s. So if you're in your 50s, 60s, and 70s, you can do this. And when you see this man, you will realize what Qigong has done for him. He recently had his telomeres measured, and they said that his body was around 35 years of age biologically. So there is a youthening process that's going on with Qigong. People do say they not only feel younger, but they look younger. So there's an element there that you're going to love.
I will definitely love that, because I'd love to stay looking younger.
Who doesn't?
Yeah. Well, Tristan, thank you so much for your time. Is there anything else you want to share real quick before we say goodbye?
Just reclaim your energy power. You're an incredible human being, and you have this ability to heal faster and this ability to feel amazing. And don't let the society and the things that we see around us trick you into believing that you can't have it all, so to speak. Learn about your energy body, and you'll be so grateful that you did. And if I can help you, I'm 100% here for that. So thank you for inviting me to share. This is my deal with the divine to pay it forward, so I'm really grateful.
Well, great. I'm so excited to start learning energy work from you. I think it'll really benefit me. So